What's up guys, welcome to WIX Ideas. In this video I'm going to show you how to set up a custom quote calculator into your WIX website. I'm pretty sure that many people want to set up a calculator for their website, especially if they're into financing, if they're into real estate, if they're into web designing or freelancing, and they want to be able to allow their site visitors to check out the services that they provide and get a quotation of how much it costs, or they can even get paid or get the payment right away. So as you can see, when I begin to change any of these elements, you can see that the price changes here and also on the button as well. So let's take a look at what happens when I increase the number of pages. As you can see, it increases by 20 because I have set this to increase by $20 each time a page is increased. The price of one page is $20, and they can completely choose any other services that they want, and also the add-ons. They can choose what add-ons that they want as well, and here they can choose the delivery time of how long they want it to be delivered. As you can see, this is a selection tag, and I've made it to select one item at a time. So this is going to be a combo tutorial teaching you how to use or set a single selection for your selection tag. Now you can also see something useful here, which is what you have selected. So everything that you have selected will be displayed here, and this is quite a cool way. And as you can see, we have the icons just in front of the items you have selected. Number of pages are 9. You can see that over here. The budget that you chose is 3,100, which is over here, and the add-ons, you've selected the website search, and if you select the live chart, you can see that it combines the live chart and the website search. And once you click on pay, it's going to bring out a dialog, which is the WIX Pay API, and this is actually not working right now because I have not connected this to a payment method. I'm going to show you how to connect that and how to get this running for your business. Okay, now you can see this design. I'm going to walk you through how I achieved this design, and I'm going to also show you how I made use of the code. So the code is right over here, and the link is in the description below as always. And here you can see that we have different sections. I'm going to go through with you through these different sections of how I made each of those elements to work, and how I made the prices to show on the buttons, how I made the quote summaries, and also the WIX Pay API itself. So follow me to the end of this video, and I'm going to show you how to achieve these in a couple minutes. So before we get started, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and also don't forget to turn on your bell notifications to be notified of future videos. Now I have two websites which are actually quite the same, but I'm going to replicate this design on the second website. So this is the second website, which is, as you can see, it's quite similar, but we're missing the quote calculator section. So what I'm going to do is to create a section for our quote calculator on the first website, and here this is the section where we need to create a quote calculator. So let's drag this section down and add a strip. So we need to add a strip. As you can see, this is a strip holding everything that we have on our calculator. So drag and drop any of the classic strips that you have, and let's go back to the next one to make sure I know what height it is. So the strip height of this element is 875. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to bring it right over here and click on this section and paste in the height. Now we have achieved the height of our strip, and the next thing I want to do is to check out the background design. So click on the settings, and over here you can see that I'm using a gradient, which is actually a very cool and beautiful way of adding a background to your strip. So here we can see that the first color is black and the second one is this color. I think that's blue, I'm not sure. So let's go back to our design and start adding our designs. So here I'm going to go back to the strip, to the settings, and then to the color, and then to the gradient. So the first color is going to be a black color, and the second color is quite the same, and the angle is 90 degrees. So this is fine, and we have achieved the design of our strip. The next items to add are the title of the section and also the subtitle. Okay, so here we're going to replicate this section. As you can see, this is a text. This is a popping semi bold 58 pixels in font. So let's go over here and do the same thing. So let's add our text. I'm going to go with heading 1, and we're going to stretch this section out, and the section says quote calculator. So I'm going to copy this text and I'm going to paste it right here. All right, so this is already being set. Let's align that to the center and also change the color to white, and we're going to reduce this to 58 pixels. All right, so this has been taken care of, and the next section we want to add is the subsection, which says submit a quote, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So copy that again, and the font is Georgia and 15 pixels by font. So that is the font size. Let's go back here, and we're going to add a heading 6, and we're going to go over here and change what this does. So this is Georgia, and this is 15 pixels, and this is not bold. So we're going to paste in our text from the other page and then align that to the center and also change the color to white. Now once you're done, you're going to stretch that out to make sure that everything is in line, and then you can center that to the center of your strip. Now we are at the section where we begin to add the container that will hold our elements. So let's click on this. This is a box element, so let's go back to our website and then go to box, and then we're going to add a box element that will hold all our elements for the calculations. So let's stretch this to the grids, and as you can see right over here, once you click on this, the width is 980 and the height is 572. So let's also make sure that we have exactly the same height and width. So this is 980 and this is 572. Once you're done, you're going to make sure to center that, and that is looking great. But then we're not done. You can see that the design is quite different, and let's click on customize design to find out why it looks different. Now you can see the background opacity is set to 50% and the corner radius is set to 10 pixels. So let's make sure we do the same thing. So click on your box and go to design. Let's go to customize design, and over here I'll fill an opacity. Let's make sure that this is set to 50%, and let's make sure that the corner radius is set to 10 pixels. Now that is looking all great, and as you can see from right over here, we have achieved the design of the background of the box that we are using. And before we go to these sections, let us check out this box over here, which is a box that holds the price, the description, and a little of these buttons and arrow and lines. So let's go again and add another box element. So let's go over to this box and add it, and here we're going to click on this box to know what the height is and the width. So the width is 425 and the height is 398. So let's go over here and add 425, and then I'm going to paste in the height. So we can drag this to the center of this box. So go over here and align to the middle of our box. Now most importantly, as you can see, there is kind of a shadow all over this item, and the corner radius as well is 10 pixels, and the shadow, we're also going to achieve the same kind of shadow. This color here is a black color and is set to 60%. So let's make sure we achieve the same kind of design. So let's go back to this corner radius and let us add 10 pixels, and let us also add a shadow. So I'll enable the shadow, and over here we have selected the black, and the blur is 29%. So let's make sure it is 29%, and I think there is nothing else. Yes, there is nothing else. All right, so as you can see, we are getting very close to achieving a similar design. The next thing we want to do is to start adding let's add all these items, the text and a number of these buttons. So the first text that we have is the price itself. So this is a basic font. So this is the font is called basic, and the font size is 42 pixels. So let's go over to our text and let us add a text that says a similar thing. So let's go to as you can see, this is the price. I'm going to copy this placeholder price. So this is the price that shows when the website just loads, and then we're going to change and make sure that this is basic. The font is basic and the size is 42, and then we're going to align this to the center as always, and we're going to drag this into this box right over here. And then we have another text which is going to be the quote summary that displays all these text. So what we're going to do is to click on these, and then let's copy what the placeholder text is. So the placeholder is the, or maybe the initial text that displays when the page loads. So here I'm going to duplicate this text actually. So go over here and duplicate, and then just place that right there. and then we're going to check out what font size that we're working with. So the font again is basic and the font size is 15. So let's go over here, make sure we have the font size as basic, the font as basic, and the font size is 15. And I'm going to place in the placeholder or the initial text that displays when the page loads. And I'm going to drag this down a little bit. As you can see, we have this section that keeps expanding as long as we keep improving or adding stuffs to our website. Okay, so we can actually add as many as we want. As you can see, it's increasing right there and it just keeps going down and down. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that this is going to be enabled properly. So I'm going to make sure that the height is 98. So let's also make sure that this is 98. I think we went a little bit more than that. And then the next element, as you can see, it's a line that kind of divides the information from the button. So I'm going to add a line as well. So let's go over to add to decorative, and as you can see, we have horizontal and we have vertical lines. So this is not displaying yet because of the internet connection. Yes, that is it. So we need to use the horizontal line, and let us add that. And let's go back to this design. Make sure to see what size and what color we're working with. So this color is this color over here, and it is set to 20%. So I'm going to go back to mine, and I'm going to go to customize design, and I'm going to go to that same color, which is this, and the opacity is set to 20%. And most importantly, we want to make sure that the height or the width is the same. So the width is 151. So let's go over here and add 151, and then let us drag this into our box. Okay, let's make sure we select the line itself and drag that into the box. All right, so we're getting very close to the end of our adding the features here, and we have these buttons also that cancels and also that allows us to pay. This button is disabled by default, and the reason is because I want the users to be able to select at least one of these items, at least one from here, one from here, one from here, and here and here, in order for the pay button to be enabled. But if we remove the enabled feature, okay, I think we selected the wrong one over here, the payment button. If we enable this by default, you can see the color is yellow. So what you're going to do is to first of all replicate this one, which is a white color. So let's head into the buttons. Let's go to buttons, and then let's drag any button that we want to use into that section. So let's click on this and change text. The text says cancel, so we're going to make sure to also change our text and change it to cancel. And then let's go to the design of this button itself. The background fills is white, as you can see from there, and then the text is basic, 15 pixels in font size, and it is bold. So let's go over to this and also make sure that we have the same thing. So the font or the fill color, which is the background fill color, is white, and the text over here we're going to make it to be basic. So it's basic and it's 15% bold. Okay, and most importantly, the color, the text color, is going to be black. So as you can see, that color is beginning to look real from there. All right, so let's go to the border, make sure that there is no border. Okay, that is looking good. I want to make sure that the hover color is the same, so click on this section, and then we're going to click on the hover and apply the same design that we have from the regular onto the hover. So here we're going to also make sure we get the height and the width. So this is 87 by 50. So let's go over here and make sure that this is 87 by 50 pixels in height and width. All right, that is looking great, but I think I forgot to check out the corner radius. So let's go to the corners. As you can see, it is 5 pixels. So let's go over to design again and change this to 5 pixels. Awesome. So now we're going to replicate this other button, which is the pay button that we have, and as you can see, it is quite similar to what we have before. It is basic and everything, but the color is different. So what you're going to do right now is to duplicate this button over here. Just duplicate that, and then let us also get the height and the width. This is 197 by 50. So we're maintaining the height, but we are changing the width. So 197. All right, so that is looking good. And then the text want to make sure that we change the text. So this says pay this amount. So we're going to make this a dynamic button, so each time you change or select any of the values, as you can see from here, it changes the price as well. But initial price that we want to show when the page loads is pay $0. All right, so we're going to copy that text and come over here and paste it in what it says as our label. Okay, and then most importantly is the design. We want to change the design, which over here the design is going to be, the background is going to be yellow. And let us take a look at what the hover color for this section is. So it's also yellow, but the opacity is 80%. So let's do the same thing for the hover. Go to the hover, change it to 80%, and that is looking all good. And finally, what we want to do is to group these two together and then center them inside this box. So let's take a look at the similarities that we have. As you can see, it's looking very similar, but I think we need to bring this closer. Let's bring this element closer to the next one. All right, and then also center it in the box. Okay, now we're going to jump into the next sections, which are these elements over here. So we have the drop down, we have the text input element, we have a slider, we have multiple checkbox, and we have a selection tag. So the reason I use the different elements is because these are the most important elements in Wix. And if you can do all of these in this tutorial, you can work with any other elements that are available. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you why, how different these elements are. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how the design of these elements. So first of all, you're going to head into your input menu, which is right over here. Now this menu may not show at first. If that is the case, what you need to do is to turn on your dev mode from right over here. Mine is already on, but I can turn it off, and when you turn that back on, you're going to see your code panel, which we're going to make use of pretty soon. And when you go back to your ad, you're going to find a bunch of other menu options. So here we're going to go to the input, and as you can see, we have the text input, we have the selections, we have the advanced. And what we're going to do first of all is to use our first element, which is a drop down. So we're going to go to the drop down on over the selection, and we're going to drag this into our page. Now this item is also being designed with a similar kind of design. As you can see, it's quite similar with the input. So let's click on the customize design and take a look at what design we have used. So the first design we have is the background, which is set to white, and I think that is obviously the case here. And we have the icon, so let's just make sure that that is similar, and we're going to move on to the next. So this is white, and the icon, which is here, is black. And I think what we have next is the corner radius, which is set to 5 pixels. So let's go back to our corner radius and set that to 5 pixels on all sides. And most importantly, let's make sure we have no borders. We're not going to use any borders. And then we're going to also check out the text. We have no shadow. Let's check out the text and make sure that the text is working properly. And before we do that, I want to add this the title over here, the field title, and the title says type of website. So to do that, go to your settings, and here you're going to find the field title. So I'm going to write in here type. All right, so let's try that again, type of website. Awesome. Okay, I think this is a lowercase. Let's make sure that we're following the same design that we have. And over here, we're going to say select website type, which is a placeholder text. Select website type. Awesome. Now we're going to go back to the design and continue from where we left off. And that is actually the text. So over here, you can see that the text for the title is white, and I think it's basic as well. The font is basic. So I'm going to go ahead to change this to white, which is the font color of the title, and the required opacity, which is the asterisk you can see over there, is also set to red. As you can see, that is really bright there. And we're going to change the font also to basic, which is the font style I'm using across this quotes calculator, and the font size is 15, so we're going to change this to 15. And this is actually working with the field title. And we're going to remove this bold because it's not bold here. I'm going to scroll down further. As you can see, we have the placeholder color and the input are all black, so which is what we have here as well. And the basic also is going to be the font for this text here. Okay, and the font size is 14 pixels, and that is looking all great. And we have also the hover color, and we have focus and every other thing. So let's check the hover color. So we're using this for the hover color. So let's go to hover for the background, and this is the color we are making use of. I think it's the same, FDF. Yeah, so that is the same. So we're going to also check out to make sure we don't have any border styles. So go over here and remove the border style. We don't need a border. We also have a focus. So over here we have focus. The focus is similar as well. We're going to make sure we remove the border style, and here we are also going to select this color for the focus. And we also have the error. There's an error. This is how it's going to be displayed. So let's go back to errors, and the background should be displayed this way. I guess that is the color we selected. Let's make sure we have the same color selected and no borders. Okay, so now we're done with the drop down, and most importantly, what we're going to do is to make sure the width and the height are the same. So this is 390 by 76. So we're going to bring back our toolbar, and we're going to make that 390 by 76. So this is going to be 390 by 76. Awesome. Now that is looking good and similar to what we have here, and as you can see, we have manage choices, and these are the choices that I'm going to have, and I'm going to explain to you what these choices are. Now when you click on these three dots, you're going to find the edit label and edit value. So the label is what the user sees from the front end, but the value the user does not see. So when we go to this live website and click on this, these are the labels that they see, but they're actually values that we work with, and the value is very important for us in the code later on. So what I'm going to do is to add my choices, and I have two choices. I have standard websites for $1,000. So I'm going to go over to this first option and replace the label, and then most importantly is the value. So what the value is for us in this tutorial is the price of that service. So the value of this is the price, is 1,000. As you can see, the sketch or 1,000 standard is $1,000. The e-commerce website is 1,500, and advanced website is 5,000. And that is similar to what the value says for each of them. All right, so I'm going to go over to the value and change this to 1,000. And next we have an e-commerce for 1,500. So you can completely customize these and delete these if you don't want to, or maybe you can add it back if you want, and so on. So I'm going to go over to mine and add that this is 1,500. So the value is going to be 1,500. And finally we have our advanced, which is $5,000. So I'm going to go over to the label, change this to advanced, and I'm also going to change it to 5,000. So I'm going to work with this in the tutorial, and I'm going to show you how that works out later on. So we're completely done with the drop down. We're going to move on to the text input element, and the text input element is quite similar design with what we have for the drop down. So go back to your add, and then to your input, and then to your text inputs, and over here we're going to drag this into our website. So let's make sure it's also the same height, the same width as the drop down, and we are also going to change what the field title says. So here we're going to click on settings. Now the first thing we have is the type. Now this type has to be a number. So as you can see, it is a number here. It only displays the number of pages that they want. So if you input a text, it's not going to work. So only the E is going to work because this is a mathematical operation, but other texts are not going to work. It's only going to be a number field. So change that to number, and the field title says number of pages, which is already highlighted there. And here we're going to make sure that we remove this default text. We're going to use the default text, which is 1. Okay, now if you refresh this page, you're going to find out that we have 1 selected as the initial text. So this is a default text which is saying stating 1. Okay, and that is showing, but I'm going to show you how to design that pretty soon. And let's go on to see if we have any other options to match. We have nothing. So most importantly, we have something else though. The minimum value that we want to accept for this field is 1. So the user cannot choose 0. They have to choose at least 1 page to use. Okay, so set your minimum value to whatever minimum value you want to use. But mine is 1. I want them to at least choose 1. Select 1 as an option. So as you can see, they cannot go below 1, but they can always go beyond 1. And if they choose 0, for example, they type in 0, is going to throw an error because 1 is the default, is the minimum value. Okay, so let's go into the design for our text input. So let's go over to design as well on our example website, and as you can see, the background color is set to white, and then the border, we're going to remove the borders. We don't need borders, and the corner radius is set to 5 pixels on all sides. And I don't think we have a shadow, and the text is what we're going to work with most of the time. So let's go over to the text as well and make sure it is similar to what we had on the drop down. So this is going to be white, and then the asterisk is going to be red, and then the font is going to be basic. So search for basic, and the font size is going to be, I think this is bigger than this, but that should be the same. If I remember correctly, it was 15 pixels. And we're going to remove the bold, and for the input, we're also going to make sure this is black, and this is the placeholder color, which is the color of this element here, and of this text, I mean. So and the next is the input, which is also black, and then the font we're going to make use of as well is basic. Awesome. So this is similar to what we have also for this element. So let's also go to the hover. As you can see, the hover is similar to what we had as well before, and it is this color. We're also going to remove the borders. We're going to go to the focus as well, remove the border, and the focus color is also going to be that, and the error for the background is going to be 100%. So let's make sure that we select that as 100%, and we have no borders. Awesome. So now we are done with the text input, and next we're going to move on to the slider element. So let's go to slider over here. Let's go to add, and then input and slider. Now there are two slider elements that we have, but I've made use of the first slider we have. This is the range slider, so I'm going to only use this slider. So let's choose any of the designs makes sense. So let's choose this one, and of course stretch it out to match the width of the other elements. And the most important thing is going to the settings first of all, and let us make sure that our settings are similar. So the settings is the part where you get kind of creative and choose what you want the user to be able to select as their minimum value. So as you can see, we have a value, and we want to make the step value to be 100. So this means that each time the user slides, is going to increase by 100. So this is 600, 700, 800, and so on. So that is the step value, and you can increase yours to maybe 500 or 1,000 or 200 or $50 to be the step value. So mine is going to be 100, and the minimum value we want to use is 500. So as you can see from here, it is 500, and when you scroll to the last section or slide to the last section of this slider, it says 500, and the maximum is 5,000. Okay, so you can choose yours to be anything. First you want to set, of course, is the maximum value. So let's select this value to be 5,000, because of course the minimum value cannot be more than the maximum value. So next we're going to go to the minimum value, which is going to be 500. Now this is not supposed to be, this should be up so that the user can actually select the maximum value before the minimum value. Okay, so the default selected depends on you as well. So mine is going to be 500. When I refresh this page, the number that is being selected is 500. So you can choose yours to start with maybe 1,000. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to show you how that works out later in the tutorial, and that is it. And most importantly, we want to continue to the other section, which is the layout. And here we have the layout as well, and this is also where you can get creative with designs. If you want, you can change the handle, which is this shape here, to whatever you want. I want mine to be this circular shape, and I think we don't have much to do except for 18 pixels here, which is the handle size, this handler here, and the track size, which is this line here. This is going to be 20 pixels. So let's 20% of handle. This is going to be 20%, and it's aligned to the left. And also, how do steps display? So I don't want the steps to display. The steps are these lines in here, or dots, but I don't want that to be displayed. I just want the user to just scroll through and it will look interactive. As you can see, we also have this label. So this label here is, you can choose how it displays. You can choose to never display it, or to display it all the time, or display it on hover. So I like mine to be displayed all the time, and I want it to be at the top. You can decide to make it at the bottom or whatever. I want to choose mine to be at the top so that I can have space for other items below. We also have the prefix. So prefix is what comes before what value you have. So here I'm going to choose $sign. As you can see, that has added the $sign to the back of my value. And we also have a suffix. So I don't need a suffix actually. So this is the bedroom, and I'm going to remove that. But you can do that and say budget, you know, but we don't need a suffix actually. I think the price is just fine, and we already have a text right over here that says budget, so you quite know what this means. Somehow we're done with this section, and we're going to go to the design part of it. So let's go to customize design, and also go to customize design to see how we achieved this shadow thing that looks very, very clean when you do that. So let's go over to the design. First of all, let's go to fill, color, and opacity. And here we have the handle design. So let's go over and start changing that. So this is the handle color, and the background is this one, the line. And then we have the selection as well. So let's also change the selection, which is what the user has selected. Is going to be also yellow when they move through. And we have the label. So the label is this item over here, and here the label is left alone as black color, and that is quite all right. And let's all go over to the border. So we do not need border, so let's set this width for the handler, the width of the handle to be 0. So that is the border of the handle, and you can see the more you add it, the more you have this kind of border look. And we have the track as well. We don't need a border for the track. And let's go to the corners and see what corner radius we have. So the corner for the track is set to 8 pixels, and for the value it's set to 2 pixels. So this is left alone, and we have a shadow. And the great thing here is you can add shadow to basically everything, including this handle, the background of the line, and so on. So let's go over to the handle and see what design we have. So let's enable the shadow for our handle, and let's go over to the design. So the design here says 6 pixels for the size. We also have the blur. The blur is set to 0. As you can see, that is beginning to take its shape. And then we have the color of the shadow, which is yellow, but the opacity is 28 pixels. So we're going to go to yellow over here, and we're going to set this to 28 pixels. Now we have achieved that good looking shadow over our item, and the rest we do not need a shadow for. Let's go to the text and see how we can customize our text element. So here we can go to text and choose what text we have. So we'll be making use of basic, so let's continue using the basic. That is also going to be applied to our label, and I think that is all we need to do for this section. All right, now if you notice, the slider doesn't have a text. So in order to mitigate that issue, we're going to add a custom text to our slider. So let's add this here. I just duplicated by clicking on Ctrl D for Windows, and then you can use Command D for Mac. Okay, so here we're going to change this to budget. Let's spell that correctly. Awesome. So we're going to align this to the left, and we're going to place it just right there. So that is looking great. Amazing. And we're going to also make sure that the size, I think the size is supposed to be 15 pixels. Okay, that is correct, and that is quite all right. And the next element we have is the featured or the checkboxes. And we have also the selection tag. Let's go to the checkboxes, checkbox group, and let's go back to input and then to selections, and then we have checkboxes. And here we have multiple checkboxes. So this is what we need. We need the multiple checkboxes. So let's click on this and add it onto our section. And here we can go ahead and choose what items we want to add. So let's stretch this out a little bit more. Maybe we can go with the design first before we actually do with the labels and everything, because I have some things to explain to you also for these sections. Let's go to customize, and then we're going to go to design as well, and let's customize this design. So the background fill is going to be white and the selection mark is going to be black. So let's change the selection mark. So the selection mark is this check here, and that's the color. And we have the border as well. The border, we're going to remove the opacity. There's no border for our items. And we have the corner radius as well, is set to 5 pixels on all sides. So this is for these icons here, or these shapes there. And there are no shadows, and the text, as usual, the text is going to be, the fill text is white, and the required, which is the asterisk, is going to be red. And here we're going to change the font to basic and remove the italic. And the choices, we have the choices, the color of the choices are going to be white, and we're going to change this design or the font to basic and remove this one. So here we're going to increase this to 15 pixels for the title, and I think that is what we have here. This is 16 pixels, but I think it should be 15 pixels since that is what we have for the other items. And let's also go to the hover and make sure that the hover is looking good. So for the background as well, we have similar thing. We have this to be black, and I guess we do not have a border, so let's make sure to remove the border. And let us also go to the focus as well. We have this and we have that as well for the focus. So let's remove that is looking good. And then the arrow, we have these to look like the arrow, so we're going to go to the arrow, make sure that is also selected that way. And yeah, that is pretty much the design, and that is all we need to do. So back to selecting or adding our choices and so on. So we're going to first of all, before we add our choices, let us add our title. This is going to be the add-ons and features. So let me just copy that, make it faster. So I'm going to go over here and copy and paste that to make it faster. And here, this field is going to be required. Actually, all the fields are going to be required. We need them to select at least one item from all of them. But if you don't want them carried, you can just uncheck these. And most importantly, I'm going to show you also how to do that in the code, because I actually added a custom validation in the code to make sure that they selected everything. Okay, so let's check the choices. And again, the choices is similar to what we have in the drop down. So we have the label, and then we have the value. The value is the price of that item. Okay, so the first thing we have is live chat. So I'm going to go over here to the choices and add live chat. And let us uncheck these by default. It should be checked by default. So go to label and add a label, and the value is going to be $50. So the value is the price of that selection or item. And here we have the website search, and the price is $80. So you don't need to add the dollars there as put the dollars as well. You just need to put the number only, because we're going to use that to calculate in our website. So don't add the symbol, the dollar symbol, to your values. For example, this is already 80. Don't add this to this section. Just add the number alone, because we're going to work with numbers and we don't want to convert to make it quite stressful. We just want to get the value of what the user has selected and then use it to make our calculations. Okay, so let's move forward. The next is automated emails. So let's copy that and also place in the automated email. So that is $45. So you can choose what price you want for any of your items over here in the labels. And what I wanted to discuss with you about these labels is you cannot have the same value. So you can't have the same price for everything. Okay, that this tutorial is completely based on having different prices for your selection. So everything that has choices, for example, your multiple checkbox and also your drop down and your selection tag, so those elements will work if you have different values. So you can have the same value. For example, let us add something else. Let's duplicate this option and let us add the value, change it to 45. Now you can see that it says this value already exists, and we cannot have that. We need to have a unique value for each of the items. And then finally, we're going to add our selection tags, and which is right over here. And first of all, we have this text that says delivery time. So let's copy this and duplicate this one here. Okay, that's not duplicate. Let us duplicate, Control D, and bring it right over here. And we're going to change the text to delivery time, and then we're going to add our selection tag. So go back to your selections and then go to selection tag. So drag and drop any of the selection tags you want. We're going to customize this anyway, so you can go ahead to play with the design and make it unique, like how you want your brand to look like, and that is completely fine for any item that you want. And this is the fun for this tutorial, because it is completely customizable. Okay, so the next thing we want to add here is the choices for our selection tags. The first choice is regular, which, as you can see, this is a delivery time, and we want to change the choices. The first one is regular, and as you can see, the price is set to 0. And the reason why I did this is because when the page loads, it is already selected, and as you can see, when we refresh the page and then we scroll down, you can see that the delivery time for regular is selected, and it's already been displayed here. Most importantly, the delivery time is free. Okay, so that is also why the value is set to 0. So when the user is selecting whatever value they want, it is actually free. Okay, but if the customer wants to have a special kind of delivery time, and they want to have it in a week or whatever, they want to let you know when they want it, then you can add price according to how long you want. Okay, for example, in 1 week you want the price to be $50 extra, so you're going to add another $50 to have it delivered in 1 week. So in 2 days, if they want it to be delivered in 2 days, then it's going to be $100 to be delivered in 2 days. So you're going to add $100 as the price. And finally, if they want it to be delivered in 24 hours, you're going to have it to be an additional $150 as the price. Okay, so that is it, and we can get rid of the other options that we do not need. And most importantly, we can just reduce this to 2 columns for the items. And then to the designs, let's go to design, and then we're going to jump into the code in a while. And I hope you're getting excited to actually see how to automate this to your best use. If you're enjoying this tutorial so far, make sure to smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe and also hit the notification bell to be the first to know of future videos. So let's continue with the design of our selection tags. So let's go to customize design, and over here the fill color is definitely going to be our yellow, which is our brand. And we're going to go to the border. We have no border color, so let's make sure that we reduce that to 0. The corner radius is available for 5 pixels, which is what we've been making consistent for all our elements ever since. And we have no shadow, which is great. And we have a text, and we are also making use of our text. So the text color of this is white, so this should be black so that it's visible. And we're also going to continue using our fonts, which is basic, and the font style size is 14 pixels, and that is looking good. So I think we're done with the regular. Let's go to the hover and see what the hover says. So the hover color is when the user hovers on it. So let's see, that is going to be 80% of our usual yellow color. So let's make that 80%. So the border is this color, which is I think that is a blue. Let's go over there. That is going to be left alone, and this is also going to be left alone. Oh no, that is not going to be left alone. So we also want to change the color of our text when it is being hovered on. So the text is going to be this one, and then we have the selected. When the item is being selected, we want to know what it is. So we also want to make sure that it is yellow, but 80%. And we also want to make sure that the border color is white. That is going to be our selection. As you can see from here, when the item is selected, the border becomes white. So that's what we want to achieve. And the text, we also want to make sure that the text is black on selection, so it looks like the regular design but just with a white border. And when there is an error, I guess the error doesn't have any special designs, and I guess that is the end of the designs that we have. Okay, so we are completely done with this, and let us have a preview and see how this actually looks like. So this is the amazing design that we have come up with. We have added every item that we need. We have our number of pages with an initial or a default text that you can increase, and as you can see, for this item we have $1,000 for the default selected. Now this color should be different for when it's hovered on, so let's go back and make sure that that is actually looking better than that. We don't want to have anything strange for our item, so the selection should also be this on hover. Let's make sure to see if our design is similar to what we have. So we have the handle, which is supposed to be this color as well, and we have the background, which is also supposed to be white, and then we have the focus. When we focus, it's also going to be the same, so this should be yellow, and selection should be yellow as well, and the background, which is the line, should be white. And do we have borders? So let's see if we have borders. So that is untouched and disabled. We don't need that for now. All right, so we are done with the design of our quotes calculator, and I decided to break this tutorial into two parts. So this is a part for the design, and the other part is going to be for the code. So I don't want to make this too exhausting for you. I want you to come back with a fresh mind as you watch the other tutorial on the code. So don't rush this at all, just take it one step at a time and check out how the code is going to help you automate each and every one of these elements. So please do well to subscribe to this channel and also turn on your notification, and the link to the part 2 is in the description below. So thank you very much. I hope to see you in the coding section.